Hi everyone, I'm Namrata Kapoor and this is Marketeer in Tech, the Cloud Edition. As tech marketers, there are a number of channels that we can leverage overall to actually take our product to the market. We have events, either in-house or third-party, micro or macro events. We've got digital, which would be a social, paid search, paid media, organic search. You've got direct, and I'm rolling up telemarketing and email marketing into this. And another critical thing that we all need to look at is business partners as a challenge. So when we go about working on our market plans, if we focus on only one of these channels or individual channels saying, hey, I'm going to execute A on this, B on this, C on this, that's basically an execution mode. It's not really a strategic view into what the customer is going through. To actually execute on a one true campaign, you need to look at it from the lens of the customer journey and how the customer is going to interact with your product or offering across multiple channels. So let's take a product to actually see how this would really pan out. I'd like to take up one product called the object storage, cloud object storage. Consider that you have this exponentially growing data, right? And now this data is getting increasingly more complex. Number of applications interact with it. It has multiple access points. It's growing tremendously. So you can't just simply name it as a file and store it. A, you'll run out of space, and B, it'll become extremely difficult to actually find this data. What you do is you actually use something called object storage, where you bundle up the data along with something called metadata tags and give it a unique identifier. So what is metadata tag? It can be truly customizable and it can become extremely complex as well. The kind of data that you could include in a metadata as identifiers could be file name, file creation date, kind of compression, kind of information inside that, copyright status, author name, so it could go on. So the critical thing businesses and the IT infrastructure department look for inside that is essentially, how do they support this particular object storage that you have? How does it support exponentially growing data and cloud native workloads? What do we mean by workloads? It is where would you use this object storage? So some examples would be backup and storage, data archiving. You could use it for recovery. You could use it to actually be the basis for building new applications. So that's your tech. Now let's look at it from a marketing standpoint, specifically that multi-channel approach, and look at it from the lens of the customer journey. The first is the discover status. This is where the customer is going through what is an object storage, or does the customer know that your company has that object storage? What is the business value their organizations would get from a product like cloud object storage? So as marketers, you could use these channels. You could look at a programmatic approach to paid media and paid search, and this would become critical because you're pushing in the right information to the right audience. I also like a third-party article in media which really talks about the positioning of the product, why it's important. Now, the second stage is the learn stage, where the customer is aware of the product and now is trying to go out there and figure out what really works for him. So from a cloud object storage perspective, do you have a search engine? Do you have a search engine optimized web page where you actually have all your company's product information, right? Another channel that you can use from a learn perspective is booths and sessions at a third-party event. Now, this is great for that general awareness where you can talk about high-level messaging, and that would enable you to create conversations going forward. You should also remember to actually leverage your business partners and their relationship with their customers to take your messaging across. Now, the third stage that we are looking at is when the customer is already in a try and a buy stage. Basically, they want to experience. So do you have, in terms of object storage, do you have a free trial offer where a customer could say, hey, I want to try it out. So here it is, 10 terabytes of cloud object storage free. Do you actually have at third-party events, demos, workshop sessions where you're going a little bit deeper into what this offering is, and then letting the customer actually experience it? Another thing that I really like is micro events, where you have a very focused audience that you invite via third party telemarketing, internal telemarketing, or even email marketing to your prospect list, talking about the specific product and its value propositions. Adoption stage, and I like the stage for specific account-based activities, or even looking at an approach where you're creating and delivering on how to assets and deep tech videos which talk about the technology behind the product, not just the business value, but actual technology behind the product. And what you're trying to do is enable your customers to use your product in their day-to-day business operations. The final stage is advocating. So this is where your customer has used your offering, he likes what he's seen, and at this point, as tech marketers, it's your job to have those customer success stories, invite him for key events, showcase him as a hero. So there you have it. That's your technology and a complete story of how do you build a multi-channel strategy around your product, which is built around the customer journey. Stay tuned for more vlogs, and as always, please do leave your feedback in the comment section.